Guys, welcome to our Monster Carp Podcast. This is our first one. I've got Tian Brits with me, and the English thing for us is a bit of a struggle. So just bear with us. But yeah, I think we'll share some tips and secrets, what we've done, how we've done it in the last few years. Yeah, so Tian, welcome. Tell us, where did your big carp journey start?
Cornelius, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the podcast. So my specimen journey actually started when I was in grade 9. So I actually started at Rietvlei Dam in Pretoria.
Yeah, it's one of the most difficult dams. The guys have been blanking session after session there.
Especially if you take 10 years, 12 years ago, that venue didn't fish the same as how it fishes now. So I remember when we started there, I think our first 5 or 6 sessions we blanked. so we had a rough start to the specimen game, but yeah, that's where it all started. Before that, I was always in the conventional bank angling, like papgooi.
Yeah, I think most guys start there, and then they see someone just holding a proper big fish, and then it's like, how do I do that?
Yeah, and that was the case. We've basically ended up every school holiday. Me and a couple of friends will go to Rietvlei, and that's where we started. So caught a couple decent fish. Also saw big fish came out there. And yeah, just basically, how can I say? That's
what gets you started on finding out more and more about how to and where and what. What was the first big fish that you actually saw, not even captured, the first big fish that someone else maybe caught?
I think it was, if I remember correctly, was just over 15 kgs, 15 kilo carp there. And we were doing a session with my father there by the last spot at the island. And we were sitting there one night. The following morning we packed up. We would have stayed an extra night. And then that evening people came in there and they caught a 21 kilogram carp on our spot. So we didn't see the actual fish, but we saw the pictures, and it was a decent fish.
John, that 21 is a massive fish.
Yeah, especially
even in today's terms, where you see so many big fish come out of all over South Africa, and a 21 is, I think, 46, 47 pounder. It's
exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah, and up to date, my biggest fish there, we've fished Rietvlei quite a long time ago. But I've caught a decent, I think it was a 15.6 mirror, also there close to the island. So to date, that's the biggest fish that I've caught there. And yeah, it's...
I like a 15 out of Rietvlei today, you hardly see them. It's like the 8s and the 10s and the 12s come out, but there's not too many 15, 16 kilo fish coming out of Rietvlei. Yeah,
like I said, especially say 10, 12 years ago when we started there, you've heard more about bigger fish coming out there than what you do now.
But I think Rietvlei stocked in thousands of small fish for the conventional guys because they were struggling too much.
And it's working.
Yeah, it is working. The guys are, at least they're getting fish. So I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, so that's where it all started for me. And from there onwards, we've started fishing, say, more wild water venues and gained experience there, and started doing it more and more and more.
I think once you start chasing those really big fish, it just becomes a addiction.
Yeah, definitely.
You can't explain it to someone. You dream it, you eat it, you live it.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, there you are. And from there onwards, fished wild waters. One of the more popular venues now is Roodekoppies. Everyone is fishing Roodekoppies, and it's producing good fish. It's really producing
world-class fish.
Yeah. So, and it's not the most difficult venue. It's literally, you can rock up there at the dam and you can catch a 40 anytime. You can come to any angler. So, it's a very nice venue to fish now. It's just, it has its challenges, but it produces good fish.
With the challenger, with the grass and the hyacinth and the algae blooms and stuff. But I think you get that all over the world. It's not a South Africa based thing. I saw a video of Claire and Samir. They fished in one of Spain's rivers, and they had to literally like row the first 40 meters just to get into open water before they could even start the engine. Yeah. So it's not a South African thing. It's not a South African problem. It's worldwide.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously the more you fish it, like in those circumstances, the more experience you build up to know what to do in each situation. Like if we go to Roodekoppies and there's a lot of slake or salt or hyacinths, you know how to deal with them. So yeah, you definitely build up the experience as well.
Yeah, it's I think you just got to be able to adapt to it, Tian. There's in any dam there's challenges, and you've just got to find a way around it, just depending on how badly you want to catch a carp.
Exactly that.
So yeah, it's an interesting one. What's your future plans?
So basically my fishing for this year, we have maybe say 2 or 3 bigger sessions left, and then for next year definitely target more wild water fishing. So yeah, it's likely to go to dams like Roodekoppies or Rietvlei, but definitely targeting like the more wild water side to catch a lot bigger fish. So
I think we are so blessed in this country that we have probably the best fishing, wild water fishing in the world at the moment.
Definitely.
We've got, there was a monster fish landed over 70 pound last year. That's unheard of. A totally wild carp that's over 70 pounds is maybe one, that lake in Morocco's got 1 or 2, but for in South African terms or in African or in world terms, we've got so many venues. We fished a venue that's totally new. We did I think 4 or 5 days there, and I think we landed 9 or 10 fish, all mirrors. The biggest 17.6. I mean, what a absolute pleasure.
Yeah, we didn't have any info on the dam. Eh?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think people are literally prepared to go overseas to try and catch a 50 or 60, but in the meantime, you can literally catch it just a few 100 kilometers away from home.
Yeah, that's the best thing for me. Like, I hate catching a fish that's been caught. Not other guys. They like it. They like to target a specific fish. I don't. But we've got, like I said, we've got world-class fishing that's 400, 500, or 600 kilometers away from wherever you are. And you just got to rock up there and figure the stuff out. You know? Figure out what's happening, how to do it, where to do it. And I can't even think of going to any other country when there's still thousands of totally wild carp that's never been caught.
Yeah, that's the difference. Like if you go to France or Europe or most of those places, the people prep their carp from they breed it, let it grow to a certain stage, and then put it in the lake for people to catch. Whereas here by us, there's obviously wild waters, but here by us, you don't really, there's the odd venue that does stuff like that, but our carp's wild carp. And it's so much more fun to catch them, and they put up, in my opinion, much bigger fight.
No, they do. It's a fish that's probably never seen a tiger nut in its life, but it just shows you they inquisitive animals. They'll try something if they come across it, and why would you want to fish anywhere else in the world? If you want to catch a 60, we've got them. If you want to catch 70s, we've got them. And 5 years ago, that was never, like in our wildest dreams, we could never even think that you would be able to catch a wild 70 in South Africa. Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing. Other thing, like in Roodekoppies, there was one fish that was caught 25. It was the third or fourth time that it was caught.
Yeah, it was caught quickly. like I think Louis caught it the previous year on 23. Then it was caught on 24/7, the unofficial weight or whatever it was, and then it was caught on 25, just over that. I mean, that's a world class fish. That's in a dam that's probably 13 or 14 kilometers. That's crazy to think that you can catch that one fish two or three times in a row.
Yeah. And then if you take Roodekoppies, for example, it's a venue that's popular among the anglers now. And like we said earlier, I think carp anglers, they tend to overcomplicate fishing. Especially like if you go to Roodekoppies, you don't have to have the most fancy stuff. You literally just need the basics, strong equipment, stuff that's going to work, and basically just find the areas where the fish resides and you'll catch them.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And you don't need, I see there's so much information that's put onto or on Facebook, and you've got to do this, and this video shows you've got to do that, and that video, and this supplier, it's got to be. But our carp, and I still think in Roodekoppies there's fish that's never been caught.
Yeah, definitely.
So, they're not rig-wise. So if you put, I saw a video of an angler the other day where he said maize doesn't work, and I thought, what absolute nonsense. Maize have been fed in our country for probably 80 years. Our grandfathers fished with maize. So why wouldn't a carp eat maize? If you look at a guy like Euro Aqua, that oak feeds in the start of Euro Aqua, he fed like 4 ton maize in a week.
Oh, that's a lot. Eh?
And yeah, you think like, how can a well-known angler, mention something like that? For me, it's just go enjoy it, to start there, and then you start figuring out what the fish want, where they are. I think the where they are is 90% more important than what you're using. Definitely.
I remember my first session that I did with you. I always thought, like, you're always catching those big fish. And I saw the stuff that you put on, I was like, it's literally so basic. So basic, but so effective.
You still say to me, are you guys? And I just thought, we don't do anything different. We use basics. We'll use just a little bit stronger stuff because of the venues that we fish.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that session that we did, there was nothing different than what I would use in anywhere. I used it at Rietvlei. I used it at all the local or at all the big venues that we fish. That's the plain, simple rig, a tiger nut with a fake maize on top, with a sharp hook, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
That's all you need to catch a fish from 1 kilo to 50 kilos.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think people always tend to think the people that catch the bigger fish always hide something. And I don't think that's always the case. Like I said, I've fished a couple of times now with you. Nothing really changed. Basic stuff, simple but effective. I think mostly important is basically just locating the fish, like getting into the right areas, the right depths. For example, Roodekoppies, me and you had the 2 different approaches this year. I fished a lot of more shallow water where you fished the deeper water.
Yeah.
And obviously you caught big fish. And yeah, I was also lucky enough to caught a 40. And that was in 1.8 meters of water.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, it's not just about catching big fish, it's going out. I took my girlfriend's son with us on one session, and obviously, my approach is a little bit different. I'll rather wait for a bite. I don't want to catch necessarily 10s and 12s. I've caught enough of them, but we just targeted the deeper water, and we got I think he got a 21.9, a 16, a 17, 15s we got. So, but it's not, that's the only way, Tian. I mean, you you also got a 40 in 1.8 meters of water. You actually got that footage of the drone footage you got. That was flippin' cool, where that fish actually picked up the rig. But it just shows you, if you can find them, you can catch them. That's probably for me the most important thing about this is it's not about this flavor and that flavor and this hook bait and that hook bait. It's about locate the fish and then catch them, and then you can start refining a little bit, adding a flavor or not adding a flavor, a strong hook, sharp hook. And if you put it in the right place, you're going to catch fish.
No, definitely. Yeah, so that weekend when I actually caught that 40 and that drone footage that happened just by chance. Literally, we were sitting, it was quiet. It actually started very quiet. And we flew out the drone, saw a few carp, and I thought, let me just go and check my rigs. Because it was so shallow and clear, you could literally see the hook baits. And when the drone was literally on top of my one rod, I saw a carp coming literally, like on the video. You saw it, and I was just like, let's just hover a bit, see what happens. And that thing came around the corner. It literally went directly for the hook bait. Didn't bugger around, literally came around the corner, go for the hook bait, and we caught the fish. So that was something to see. And like I said, there was other video as well. I think the people from SA Carp, they did the same video.
Yeah, also had something the same. Yeah, I saw that.
So very similar. And I think it's not something you see every day. So quite unique.
Yeah, it's interesting on, where we get so many questions on how to. And I think if the guys, they wanna, they'll spend 50,000 Rand on rods and reels, and they'll spend 1,000 Rand on a fish finder. But I think it needs to be the opposite way around. If you can't locate the fish, you can't catch them. So it doesn't matter what rods and reels and hooks and whatever you've got. If you're not putting that rig in the right location, you're not going to catch a fish. Whatever flavor you've got, whatever the brands tell you, you have to use this flavor because it draws the fish from Nandoni to Roodekoppies. And it's just a marketing scheme.
Yeah.
For me, I've got me and you fish together, and then me and Peter fish together, and I fish with Neil. And both those guys, Peter is probably the best wild water fisherman that I know that I've fished with. And not one of them, they use one flavor. Like the flavor should be the last thing in your armory to catch a carp. You start with the basics. A tiger nut that's caught millions and millions of carp all over the world, and it still will. And slowly work your way up from there, and you'll start seeing results instead of going reverse engineering it from flavors backwards. Go to good equipment, the right place, and then add a flavor at the last. Then I think your results will improve a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like you said, it comes down to basically the fish location. Like if you take a dam, so for example, like Rietvlei, I think people go to that venue, they book a spot, and they set up there for the week. If the fish is there or not, they camp. They just camp. They're not willing to move. And if the fish are not in front of you, you're not going to catch them.
Yeah.
So I think that's what makes Rietvlei a difficult venue, because people they don't really observe the water, see where the fish are. They just go with what they know and stick to it, it can pay off. But if the fish are not there, they're going to give themselves away. They'll jump, they'll do whatever. So if they're not there, you're not going to catch them.
Yeah, a lot of the anglers, including myself, I've sat there for 6 days. I wasn't willing to move, and I didn't catch a fish.
No.
So, I think if you spend a bit of time just driving around and start locating those fish where they are, and then you can start. I mean, we had a session where we arrived and the fish was showing in a certain area, and I actually drove over them and put my rigs behind them, and I didn't catch. As soon as I moved that rod back, like a few days later, I moved that rod back, I started getting runs on it.
Yeah.
So, you know, like Klipkoppie is a prime example. If they're not there, you ain't catching them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's basically, it comes to just being able to adapt. Like you said, we saw the fish jumping in a certain line.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
where we
missed
dropped,
that line by 20 meters
yeah.
because I don't know.
Yeah, it looked promising.
Or, yeah.
It looked promising, but at the end, that's basically just where the fish came through, definitely not feeding. So, yeah, shows you have to adapt.
Yeah, it's that's the thing where the guys like I fished when I fished Roodekoppies, I fished motse. So I don't fish Roodekoppies often, just because I've got too many wild water sessions later in the year. So I tend to do Roodekoppies maybe June until that slake or algae or whatever starts, and then I back off.
Yeah.
And we, like both sessions, we found the fish, the better fish in the deeper water. I did a session in June, and the fish I was getting my bites between 23 and 32 foot of water, like just on the drops, and like a hard bottom on the drop, and that rod would lay 2 days, and it might go or it might not go. You know, I got a 21-1, 18-3, 17-8. But yeah, that's just my style of fishing. You know, you've done it differently, and it's again, there's no right or wrong way. That's for me the most important, that I want to show to the guys, that it's not. No one can tell you it has to be done exactly like that, and you're gonna catch a carp.
Yeah. Everyone, you can go with a game plan. Fishing, for example, the deeper water, and then if you come there in 3-4 days, might not pay off. So once again, it comes to being able to adapt. Like we fished Roodekoppies, especially. I fished it a lot this year, and sometimes the conditions were literally perfect. Everything's perfect. The weather,
the air pressure, everything. And they're not biting.
Then they're not biting. Then on one of the rods, say for example, if the air pressure is high, I'd usually not fish deeper water, and all of a sudden one deep rod will go somehow. So it's just, that's something that I still work on, basically, of getting, I can say, build up experience or knowledge regarding that.
You'll never understand them 100%. You can try and understand them however you want to, but you'll never pin it down to they do exactly that.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's just, I always, if I go with a game plan and put, say, for example, 2 rods in the shallow water, 1 in the deeper water, and see whichever one produces. And then from there onwards,
then you can move a little bit.
Move and, try and catch the bigger ones.
Yeah, I mean, we had a session now at Rietvlei, and it was difficult.
Yeah.
We struggled for like the first 2 days. We were only there for like 3.5 days. The first 2 days we had 2 or 3 bites, and then the fish just like switched on the Thursday night, and you had 2 runs the night and then 2 early the next morning.
Yeah.
But I mean, we started fishing in close, and we had to move like all those rods out, and we all our fish came on, like the one on the dam wall you had fish, I had one on the dam wall, and then all our rods on the other side, we were picking up fish there.
Yeah. Oh, so basically the game plan that we had in mind there didn't really pay off as we hoped.
No, for 48 hours we sat there and we hardly got bites.
And the bites that we got was very small fish. Very, very small. So, that we opted to change mostly all of the rods, almost all of them.
So we did. We left, I think, 2 rods in close on a marker that we fed, and we let all our other rods, we moved to the opposite margins.
Yeah.
And that rod of yours, you put a rod in 12 or 13 foot water, and you got a small one and a small one again, and then you move that rod out. And I think the last morning you got a 13 or a 14 or
Yeah,
something like
around
that.
there. So yeah, literally just, I can say, like, if you see that the smaller fish are biting, then we just move to a little bit deeper water, and yeah, it paid off.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, your plans for the rest of the year, Tian? Anything specific in mind that you...
Not really. Quite a busy schedule still for the year left. But obviously, like I said, 1 or 2 wild water sessions coming up, and that's basically it. Then I'll start doing my prep work for next year.
Yeah,
So-
it's crazy to think that the years, I mean, most of the fish have spawned or will spawn in the next couple of weeks, and then, yeah, then the year's over. You know, I'm not quite too keen on catching them then.
Yeah. To catch fish like in post spawn, it's not always ideal when you're chasing the big ones, but any time alongside the water on the bank is a privilege for me. So yeah, I'll still do 1 or 2 sessions, and then, like I said, I'll start prepping my stuff for next year. Next year we really want to do some big sessions. So yeah, a lot of planning. I don't think that's the other thing. I don't think people realize how much planning goes into such a session.
No,
People is just, they come at home, they decide they're gonna go to a session, they hook the trailer and off they go. But there's really, when you want to catch big carp, there's a lot of planning that goes into it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I know you and your father did a session now off a houseboat, and I think it was a real eye-opener from coming from let's say Roodekoppies, heading to that, and like, this venue is at the widest, a kilometer wide, and it's just one tree after the other, and yeah, then it becomes a different ball game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so like I said, obviously with the little knowledge that we gained before we went with a game plan. But obviously with what you know, until you come there, it's a different story.
Yeah, it
You have
changes very,
to-
very quickly once you're there.
Yeah, it changes. So yeah, I learned a lot when I go back.
You guys did well. I think you landed 3 or 4 fish with a 17 in between. So I mean, that's upper 30. It's a big fish.
Yeah,
In any terms, a wild upper 30 is a big fish.
yeah. So that was a long male fish. So first time I saw that sort of type of fish, like
Yeah,
wild
they
water.
just probably a meter long. They lay that whole cradle full.
Yeah.
And they fight like crazy, those small fish.
Yeah, they pull you into snags like you can't even imagine. So yeah, definitely when we fish that venue next year, definitely go with more or less the same approach but different style. So yeah, that's, like I said, it's a lot of planning goes into it. So, but it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's like I fished that venue as well, and we started off losing fish, and for me that's the worst thing, to lose a fish and know it's trailing a piece of line, and figuring out that you can't target a carp in trees. You're gonna lose that battle.
Yeah.
You find ways of either pulling them out of the trees and fishing in clearer areas, or you got to find. I've found a way that I use a ball to float my line to them, and then almost like a pulley system to get them up from there. But I won't just lose fish after fish after fish. That's also, where's the fish safety in that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah, and
crazy.
that was what actually happened to us. Like after losing the 3rd fish, 2 of the reeks we actually retrieved, believe it or not. But after losing the 3rd fish, we moved away from the snags, and it was more difficult to catch fish because obviously the fish just, why do they have to go out of, that's like the safe place.
Safe place. Oh, it's
So-
the safety and it's food in there.
Yeah, so we moved away from the snags, also got a few runs, and that's where we basically landed the other fish. So yeah, it's something to look forward to, like I said. gonna try and fish it at least 2 or 3 times next year, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that venue, the average size is probably just over 40 pounds. And we get a lot of guys that complain when we blur the background on fish. But, for me, we spend thousands and thousands of rands to drive to those venues, go and check them out, suckle our asses off. And, now you just want the info, we all got YouTube, we all got flipping Google Maps, we Google Earth. Go on Google Earth, look at dams, flip and do a bit of research, and go and try it out. I've fished a venue now with Peter, and he landed 14 fish for the week. I landed 2. It's just we both put the same effort in, but you don't always get the results. So if you go to a venue and you blank, tough shit.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. We fished the venue last year. Me and Peter, we did a road trip. We started off that we fished the dam, and the conditions were just horrible. It's like 35 kilometers hour winds, and it was hot, and the things just didn't work out. We packed up there. We left. We took the boat home. We drove again 600 kilometers, stopped at a dam, literally set up our camp that night. And the next morning, a local rocks up and says, "Oh, there's no carp." I was like, "Oh my soul." And then we left. We tried another venue. We couldn't get access to the water. And eventually we ended up in that same venue where you fished now. And I think we landed 22 or 23 carp. A 50, spawned out 50 and 4 40s in 2 nights. And it's like we did 2,500 kilometers, but that's just part and parcel of it.
Yeah.
It's not every trip you're going to have the best trip of your life. If you have a shit trip, tough shit.
No, it happens.
Go for it.
It happens. Like I said, and I think in most cases they'll opt just to pack up and go home. So if that was the case in I can say in your case, then you guys wouldn't have had that.
Yeah, we wouldn't have
decision.
anything.
So
there's so many things that the guys must just enjoy it. Get on the bank, try it, play around with things, have fun. Enjoy that fish that you catch.
Yeah.
That's for me is probably the most important thing. I started probably 17, 18, 19 years ago, and I only caught my first 40 5 years ago. I think my first 40 came out of Klipkoppies in 1907. And those days Klipkoppies were very low, so the fishing wasn't so easy. When now Klipkoppies is full, it fishes incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
There's no easy captures there. When the water's at 50%, those fish have got very little place to hide.
Yeah.
And I fished Tsenin for years and years, and the information wasn't available so easily available as it is today. Like things we can try, things you can do, and just like our catch rates have gone up. Like fish finders make your life. That's probably the best thing there is.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like you said, there's a lot of people, they just want to get info, go to the dam and catch a 40.
Yeah, but I don't think that's like for me. I don't want that. Like we fish dams that there's zero. If you Google the dam, you get zero information. But you know what a carp looks like. So if I drive there and I see a carp jumping, I'm going to try and catch him.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's Tian, I think it's a sport where everyone can, like get the kids out. Like I see Ellis, my son, how he enjoys like a weekend's fishing. He gets to do a bit of bass fishing, and I drop the lines and he catches the fish, and he flippin' loves it.
Yeah.
So get the guys, get the family involved. Like Roodekoppies, guys, there's crocs.
Yeah.
We had an incident in the year. Watch out. Be careful. If there's a croc, stay out of the water.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I was fishing Roodekoppies that weekend when that incident happened. I was fishing Cornelius water estates. It was basically on the other leg of the dam. And yeah, if you, how can I say, if I date back, it's basically, it could have happened to anyone.
No, it can happen to anyone, but I think, Tian, there's precautions that you can take that can avoid it. And I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not doing anything. It can happen to anyone, like you said. Like we fished a venue somewhere in August, and we saw a croc probably 4.5 meters. That's crazy. That croc is going to try and chow you. So be aware.
Yeah.
Just be a little bit more vigilant than what you are at Donaldson, where there's no crocs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in a way that opened a lot of people's eyes. To
And
be
I think
more,
it's a good thing.
Yeah, to be more cautious when they're at the dam. Like, for me, example, there's times where you've never heard of an incident happening. So you're not too cautious. You go into the water, you're
not too
go
worried.
past the grass, the slake, you go take it off the lines. You don't really matter if you don't mind. So yeah, you have to check the surroundings, obviously, where you're fishing.
Yeah, that's like Roodekoppies it's quite a challenging venue in that you've got the grass, you've got the hyacinth, and then you've got the guys that cut the tents. That's probably the biggest challenge of that.
Yeah, literally now the other day when we did a session there, I think, say 3 or 4 weeks ago, they tried to cut our tents. They got all of the people that was camping next to us. But yeah, it can happen to anyone at any resort. So
Yeah, Tian, but I still think if you're putting out camp alarms, then the chances of them, they will set off the camp alarms and they'll run.
yeah,
So I mean, I think you said your dad's dogs chased them, and it's like the guys end up not putting out those camp. My first or second session there, Peter said to me, "Listen, put out camp." I said, man, it's not going to happen to us. And the flipping first night, it did happen to us.
yeah. I
So,
see.
it's just be cautious when you're there. They are there. They are going to cut your tents if you don't put out alarms.
Yeah, especially some of the resorts there, you rock up and then you're the only tent or the only person fishing there. So then it's an easy target.
Yeah, it's an easy target. There's no one else to help you out. And yeah, it's an interesting one that I wish those guys will get caught. That will make our lives easier. But Leon, let's talk a bit about rigs. What's your, and I'm not going to hammer on it, but what's your go-to? What in and why?
So, to be honest, before I actually started fishing with you, my go-to was a spinner rig. Spinner or...
It's probably the most fished rig in the world at the moment.
Yeah, if I fished bottom bait or pop-up, whatever, that was my go-to rig. And I didn't lose a lot of fish. So my hook holds were pretty tight. But obviously, I'd say there's specific rigs for specific venues. Like, I won't fish now a Ronnie rig if I go to a dam that's full of snags. Like, if you're gonna...
it's just the swivel in between the hook, your spinner swivel is just not as strong.
Yeah, and also the crimps as well.
Yeah.
Something can go wrong, after, like I said, some places you have to kind of butcher that fish to get it away
beef
from
up
the snags. And it's just there's a rig choice for specific venues, I'd say. But 90% of the time it was a Ronnie rig or spinner rig. But now I've basically changed over also to just a normal air rig. So with a little piece of coated braid.
And all the guys say no, a bottom bait, a standard bottom bait rig can't work. I've caught thousands of carp on it, And you've seen my rig. It's a basic hair with the small tubing on the hook, and that's it. There's
that's basically
nothing
it.
fancy, and we've caught big fish. And yeah, it's like that's not the most important thing in your life.
Yeah. And what I've noticed, like, how that basically catch with the Ronnie rigs, I get the odd, say, hook set where it was like in the corner of the mouth, or where when I looked at your hook sets, it was literally in the middle at the back of the bone. It's a solid hook set. That fish you'll never hook pull that thing. So yeah, those rig choices are definitely, it's simple but so effective yet.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, for the people who doesn't know me yet, they can follow me on Facebook or social media, Facebook or Instagram. On social media, the page's name is Nomadic Waters, and yeah, there I post basically the sessions that we do, so a little bit of info. So yeah, go like and follow the page.
Cool, guys. Thanks for watching our first podcast, and we'll see you soon.